Have you ever wondered what really makes a man's heart race in the moments before a kiss? What is it that ignites his desire, makes him feel understood, and draws him closer than ever before? It's not a trick, a routine, or a grand gesture. It's far simpler, far more powerful. It's the words. Just 5 words, carefully chosen, can change everything. They can make a man feel seen, wanted, and alive. And today, you will discover them. But before we get there, let's take a moment to understand why these words carry so much weight and why they are far more than just sounds. Every human being craves connection. It's wired into our very DNA. We are not just creatures of habit or survival. We are creatures of emotion. We thrive on recognition, affirmation, and intimacy. And when it comes to men, the psychology is clear deep down. They want to feel understood, respected, and appreciated. A man's mind may seem simple on the surface, but it's incredibly sensitive to the signals of emotional validation. A word, a tone, a phrase at the right moment can spark a fire of trust and attraction that no action alone can create. Think about it. How many times have you felt a surge of emotion from a single word someone said to you? It could have been, "I believe in you, you matter, or you're enough." Those words linger. They settle in the heart. They become a bridge between two souls. That is the power of language. And in the delicate moments before a kiss, that bridge becomes everything. It is the threshold where desire meets vulnerability, where intimacy teeters on the edge, and where the right words can open doors that actions alone cannot. But here's the secret most people overlook. Men, just like anyone else, are motivated by a combination of respect, affirmation, and emotional safety. Before a kiss, these factors matter more than you realize. He wants to feel that he is valued, not just for what he can do or the way he looks, but for who he truly is. And when those 5 words are said with honesty and intention, they validate his existence in a way that touches something deep within him. This is not about manipulation. It's about connection, about speaking directly to the part of him that longs to be seen. Imagine this, the air is quiet, the moment feels suspended, and every sense is heightened. He is waiting, not just for a kiss, but for reassurance, for affirmation, for a spark that tells him this is real. And then the right words are said, just 5 of them, simple yet devastatingly powerful. They do more than express desire. They convey respect, attention, and understanding. They hit the subconscious where emotion lives. They ignite a feeling so strong that the kiss, when it finally happens, is electric. Not because of physical attraction alone, but because of the emotional resonance behind it. As we move through this video, you will learn exactly what these 5 words are. You will understand the psychological mechanics behind why they work. And most importantly, you will see how these words can elevate the intimacy and connection in your relationships to a level most people never reach. By the end of this video, you won't just know the words. You'll understand the emotional power they carry and how to use them with authenticity and impact. Stick with me till the end, because what you are about to discover could change the way you connect with men forever. There is a deeper lesson here, one that goes beyond just attraction or desire. These 5 words teach us that connection is not built on grand gestures or superficial charm. Connection is built on understanding, on empathy, on speaking directly to the human heart. Every man longs for this, even if he doesn't always recognize it. And in the moments before a kiss, this longing becomes palpable, almost tangible. If you can recognize it, if you can respond to it with the right words, you are not just creating a kiss. You are creating an experience, a memory, a bond that lingers far longer than any fleeting touch. So ask yourself, are you ready to discover the words that make him feel truly alive? Are you ready to unlock the secret to connection, desire, and intimacy that most people never even notice? Keep watching, because by the end of this video, you will hold in your hands not just a tool, but a key that opens the door to the deepest part of a man's heart. And once you understand it, once you see the psychology behind it, you will realize that relationships, attraction, and intimacy are not about luck or chance. They are about awareness, about intention, about understanding what a man truly wants to hear, and knowing how to say it in a way that resonates with every fiber of his being. Every connection begins with understanding. Before a kiss, before desire even blooms, there is a silent language being spoken a language of attention, presence, and emotional resonance. Men, like all humans, respond not just to actions but to signals that confirm they are seen and valued. These signals are often subtle, invisible, yet their impact runs deep. Words carry weight because they speak to the mind and the heart at the same time. When used with care, they awaken a sense of being appreciated, a sense of significance that is irresistible. Imagine a man standing at the edge of intimacy. He is aware of your presence, but he is also acutely aware of his own vulnerability. At that moment, the world feels fragile, as if every heartbeat matters. This is not weakness, it is humanity. And it is precisely in this fragile, suspended moment that the right words can create an unshakable connection. They do not merely convey desire, they validate his very essence. They tell him without arrogance or manipulation that he matters. And when a man feels truly acknowledged, a transformation occurs. His mind relaxes, his heart opens, and the path to intimacy becomes effortless. The power of words lies in their ability to trigger emotion before action. Think of the last time a simple phrase made you pause, smile, or even shiver with recognition. That feeling comes from the subconscious, from the deep part of the brain that controls attachment, trust, and desire. A man is no different. Words spoken with intention reach that part of him where longing resides. They communicate understanding without needing to explain. They spark desire without needing to show it. And this is what makes 5 carefully chosen words so potent. They touch the part of him that craves acknowledgement, appreciation, and connection. But it is not just about saying something nice. It is about timing, tone, and authenticity. Words become meaningless if they are empty or forced. The mind detects insincerity instantly. The heart feels it, and the connection falters. What works is words that are aligned with truth, words that reflect genuine attention and presence. A man wants to feel that the words come from the core of who you are, not from a script or a performance. When this authenticity is paired with emotional insight, it creates a magnetic pull. It draws him closer, not through pressure or expectation, but through recognition of his value and significance. Emotional connection is the bridge between desire and intimacy. Words, when used correctly, form the structure of this bridge. They communicate not just interest, but understanding, admiration, and respect. They acknowledge his presence in a way that goes beyond the surface. And when a man senses this depth, he responds naturally. His body relaxes. His mind stops doubting. His heart opens. Desire follows naturally, not because it was demanded, but because it was nurtured. Every word becomes a seed planted in fertile soil, and the kiss is the blossoming of that careful cultivation. This is why so many moments fail to reach their potential. The action alone, the touch, the glance, the approach is never enough. Without the emotional foundation, desire is temporary. Attraction fades because the heart remains unengaged. Words are the missing piece. They are the subtle, invisible force that confirms you are seen, you are wanted, you are enough. And when these words are chosen wisely, they resonate far beyond the moment, leaving an imprint on his mind and emotions that lasts. Understanding this principle is liberating. It shifts the focus from trying to impress or perform to truly connecting. A man's desire is awakened not by grand gestures alone, but by a recognition of his significance. Words are the tools that unlock this recognition. And when the right words are spoken, they create an energy that is palpable, electric, and magnetic. A single phrase can make him feel alive, appreciated, and deeply connected, more than any kiss alone could achieve. The mind craves consistency, reassurance, and emotional alignment. When words align with these needs, they communicate something far deeper than desire. They communicate trust. A man wants to know that he can show up, that he can be himself, and that he will be met with understanding and respect. These 5 words, when spoken at the right moment, fulfill that need. They signal acceptance, admiration, and readiness. And in that moment, everything shifts. The tension, the anticipation, the longing, all of it converges into a magnetic pull that makes the kiss inevitable, natural, and profoundly meaningful. Connection is not built on coincidence. It is built on awareness, emotional intelligence, and the courage to speak truthfully to the heart. Every man longs for validation, not because he is fragile, but because he is human. And every word that touches that longing strengthens the bond between two people, transforming fleeting desire into enduring intimacy. This is the power of understanding the mind, the heart, and the subtle mechanics of emotional resonance. When you recognize this, you realize that intimacy is not a moment, it is a process. It is the sum of presence, attention, understanding, and carefully chosen words. Every phrase, every whisper, every heartfelt syllable contributes to the foundation of desire and connection. And when done with authenticity, the result is extraordinary. A kiss becomes not just a physical act, but a culmination of emotional alignment, trust, and mutual recognition. That is the invisible power that words can wield, and that is the insight. That transforms relationships into something unforgettable. Words have power, but not all words are created equal. Some lift the spirit, some stir desire, and some penetrate straight to the heart. Understanding this is the first step toward creating a connection that is deeper, more intimate, and more magnetic than most people ever experience. In the moments before a kiss, the mind is heightened, emotions are on edge, and every signal carries amplified meaning. This is the moment when a single phrase can create a bridge between hesitation and surrender, between doubt and desire. The first word spoken at this moment sets the tone. It does more than capture attention. It communicates awareness, presence, and intention. It tells him that you are not just there, but fully tuned into him. The psychology behind this is simple yet profound. Human brains are wired to respond to recognition. When a person feels truly seen, their body relaxes, their heart opens, and their mind welcomes connection. For men, this is particularly powerful. A single word delivered at the right time can shift his entire emotional state. It is not just about the literal meaning of the word. The emotional weight behind it matters far more. A word carries energy, intention, and honesty. When spoken with genuine feeling, it validates his worth, acknowledges his presence, and awakens desire. This is why timing is everything. In the quiet pause before a kiss, the mind is alert, senses are heightened, and every sound becomes a signal. The first word pierces through this heightened state, offering a spark that ignites anticipation, trust, and emotional intimacy. Consider this: men, like everyone else, seek reassurance before surrendering to vulnerability. A kiss requires openness, a willingness to connect on multiple levels, and a sense of safety. Words offer that safety. They say, without demanding, that he is welcome, valued, and appreciated. They reduce the noise of doubt, calm the uncertainty, and signal emotional alignment. This is why the right words have the power to make a kiss more than just a physical act. They make it an emotional experience, one that resonates long after the moment has passed. The first word also acts as a signal of attention. Attention is one of the most powerful motivators in human psychology. When a man perceives that his presence is truly acknowledged, a deep sense of affirmation occurs. This affirmation taps into fundamental desires: being understood, being respected, and being desired. The first word is not random. It is a key that unlocks these desires. It is an acknowledgement that he matters in that instant, that his existence is noticed and valued. And this awareness, this recognition, triggers a cascade of emotions that makes connection inevitable. Words also communicate intention. When spoken with confidence and clarity, they reassure him that your actions are aligned with your feelings. In the moments before a kiss, uncertainty is natural. Doubt can creep in, even if only subtly. A well-chosen word removes hesitation, providing clarity and emotional guidance. It tells him without force or expectation that this moment is meaningful, that the connection is mutual, and that vulnerability is safe. The right word transforms anxiety into anticipation, hesitation into excitement, and uncertainty into emotional readiness. It is important to understand that these words do not need to be elaborate or poetic. Complexity can dilute the emotional impact. Simple, clear words often carry the greatest power because they are direct and authentic. They communicate truth without distraction. The first word is a beacon, a signal of attention and care, and it is most effective when it is spoken from sincerity rather than strategy. Authenticity resonates with the subconscious mind. It speaks to a man's need for recognition and value, igniting desire while creating emotional safety. Beyond desire, these words also establish a rhythm of trust. Trust is the foundation of any intimate connection. Before a kiss, trust is fragile, and the wrong word or tone can disrupt it. The first word, however, has the power to strengthen trust instantly. It signals that attention is genuine, that emotions are aligned, and that connection is intentional. This trust amplifies desire because it removes fear, hesitation, and doubt. The kiss that follows becomes a natural extension of the emotional bond, not just a physical gesture. In essence, the first word is more than a word. It is a signal of understanding, a spark of connection, and a confirmation of emotional resonance. It is a psychological trigger that opens the door to intimacy and desire. It sets the stage for what follows, preparing the mind, heart, and body to respond fully to the connection being offered. In the quiet pause before a kiss, this word becomes the anchor, the spark, and the catalyst that transforms anticipation into a moment of deep magnetic attraction. Recognizing the power of the first word changes everything. It shifts the focus from performance to presence, from action to understanding, and from superficial desire to authentic connection. The right word, spoken at the right time, touches him on multiple levels: mind, heart, and body. It is the beginning of a sequence that leads to trust, desire, and emotional intimacy. Every pause, every breath, every heartbeat amplifies its impact. And when this word is delivered with sincerity, it creates a moment that lingers, a memory that resonates, and a bond that is deeply felt. There is a subtle power in patience. The moments before a kiss are not about rushing. They are about creating a space where connection can breathe, where anticipation can grow, and where trust can settle deeply into the heart. Desire, when nurtured, becomes far stronger than desire that is forced. Men respond to this in a very primal way. They sense emotional readiness before physical closeness. They feel it in the tone of a voice, the weight behind a glance, and the intention behind each word. Every small gesture, every carefully chosen word lays the groundwork for a bond that goes beyond the surface. Emotional presence is the most powerful form of attraction. When a man feels fully seen and understood, a natural pull emerges. This pull is not created through manipulation, pressure, or expectation. It is created through authenticity and awareness. In the quiet moments before a kiss, attention becomes magnetic. The mind craves it. The heart leans into it. And the body responds instinctively. This is the psychology of connection. The more a person feels valued, the more naturally desire and intimacy flow. Think about the last time you felt truly understood. That sense of being heard, being appreciated, being recognized, it is profound. Men experience the same sensation in these intimate moments. Words that acknowledge this understanding act like keys, opening doors that were quietly waiting to be unlocked. They carry more than meaning. They carry resonance, energy, and affirmation. Every syllable communicates at a deep level that he is important, that he is seen, and that his presence is desired. The effect is almost instant. Hesitation melts, walls lower, and the mind embraces connection. Timing is everything. In the brief pause before a kiss, there is a heightened awareness that amplifies every word, every breath, and every heartbeat. A simple phrase can feel monumental because the subconscious mind is primed to detect emotional cues. This is why the first word matters so profoundly. It sets the stage, preparing the mind and heart for what is about to happen. But it is not enough to simply speak. The word must carry weight, intention, and truth. Only then does it resonate in the way that sparks desire and builds trust simultaneously. Trust, after all, is the foundation of intimacy. Before a man can fully give himself to a moment, he must feel safe, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Words, when delivered with authenticity, communicate this safety. They tell him that vulnerability will not be met with judgment, that his presence is valued, and that his emotions are recognized. The right word at the right moment does not just express attention, it affirms acceptance. And acceptance is magnetic. It creates an invisible bond that draws him closer, naturally, irresistibly. It is important to recognize that emotional connection is cumulative. Each gesture, each glance, each word spoken adds layers of depth. Men, like everyone else, are drawn not just to action, but to emotional resonance. They are drawn to the feeling of being understood and appreciated. When this feeling is established before a kiss, the act itself becomes an extension of trust and desire, not just a physical expression. Every word, carefully chosen, becomes a thread that weaves together anticipation, affirmation, and attraction. This is why the moments before a kiss are so crucial. They are not empty pauses. They are fertile ground for connection. Words spoken here are not casual. They are deliberate. They are crafted to awaken recognition, desire, and trust all at once. A man is looking for cues that confirm his significance, that validate his presence, and that encourage him to embrace intimacy fully. Each word is a small anchor, tethering him to the emotional experience, making the eventual kiss feel inevitable, natural, and profoundly satisfying. The emotional impact of these moments cannot be overstated. Men respond to emotional alignment far more than to physical cues alone. Desire follows understanding. Passion follows recognition. Trust precedes surrender. And in this delicate interplay, the first word becomes a silent, powerful force. It is not simply spoken, it is felt. It resonates in the mind, stirs the heart, and prepares the body to respond. It is the beginning of a sequence that transforms anticipation into connection and connection into intimacy. Every detail counts: the cadence of speech, the softness of tone, the authenticity behind the words. These elements together create a psychological environment where he feels seen, valued, and desired. Emotional readiness is contagious. When one person is fully present and aligned, the other cannot help but respond. This is why patience, presence, and carefully chosen words are more powerful than any gesture alone. They transform a fleeting moment into a lasting memory, a simple kiss into an emotional milestone. Understanding this dynamic changes everything about how intimacy is approached. It shifts focus from acting to connecting, from performing to being present, from seeking to giving attention. The mind notices, the heart responds, and the body follows naturally. By cultivating emotional awareness and using words with intention, the stage is set for a connection that feels effortless yet profoundly powerful. The first word is no longer just a word. It becomes the spark that ignites anticipation, the signal that deepens trust, and the key that unlocks desire in a way that will resonate far beyond the moment. There is a word that carries a weight few realize until it is spoken at the perfect moment. It is a word that signals recognition, appreciation, and desire all at once. This is the word that every man longs to hear before a kiss, though he may not even consciously know it. It is simple, yet profound. It touches the deepest layers of the mind and heart, resonating with fundamental human needs. When spoken with sincerity, it shifts the energy of the moment, dissolving hesitation and replacing it with connection. This word does more than capture attention. It validates his existence. It communicates that he is seen, not just superficially, but in a way that matters. Men, like everyone else, have a deep-seated desire to feel acknowledged. Recognition is a primal human need. When this word is spoken, it fulfills that need in an instant, creating a magnetic pull that draws him closer emotionally and physically. The power of a single word to shift an emotional state is remarkable. And this is why timing, tone, and intention are critical. Saying this word before a kiss creates an invisible bridge between hearts. It transforms the anticipation in the air into a tangible connection. The brain reacts to emotional cues before physical ones. When a man hears something that resonates with his desire to feel valued, his mind relaxes, his heart opens, and his body responds naturally. This word does not force attraction, it evokes it. It does not demand attention, it earns it. And it does all of this because it taps into the deep psychology of desire and emotional fulfillment. The magic of this word lies in its ability to communicate multiple layers at once. On one level, it expresses appreciation, or on another, it conveys desire. And yet, beneath all of that, it signals safety. Emotional safety is essential for intimacy. Without it, hesitation creeps in, doubt clouds perception, and the moment loses its intensity. This word, spoken with intention and sincerity, reassures him. It tells him that he is wanted, respected, and valued. It lowers the walls that often separate desire from connection, creating a space where intimacy can flourish naturally. There is also a profound psychological mechanism at play here. Humans are wired to respond to validation. Validation signals that we are understood and accepted. When this word is spoken before a kiss, it taps directly into that mechanism. It says, without elaborate explanation, that his presence matters and that his value is recognized. The emotional impact is almost instantaneous. Hesitation transforms into anticipation. Nervousness becomes excitement. Doubt turns into trust. This is why the right words delivered with care are more powerful than any physical gesture alone. It is essential to understand that this word is not about flattery. Flattery is shallow. It appeals to the ego, but it does not create deep emotional resonance. This word, in contrast, reaches beyond surface-level affirmation. It speaks to the core of what every man wants to feel: appreciated, desired, and emotionally understood. Its simplicity is its strength. When spoken sincerely, it pierces through pretense, cuts through noise, and connects directly with the heart. The mind recognizes its authenticity, and the body responds to the emotional truth it conveys. The emotional readiness that this word creates is extraordinary. Men, like everyone, experience tension before vulnerability. The mind calculates, the heart hesitates, and the body senses uncertainty. This word acts as a signal, telling him that it is safe to lean in, safe to let go, and safe to embrace the connection. It transforms the moments before a kiss from uncertainty to alignment, from tension to harmony. Its effect is subtle but undeniable. It prepares the mind, heart, and body to experience intimacy fully and without reservation. When this word is combined with presence, timing, and genuine attention, its power is amplified. Presence ensures that every syllable is noticed, every breath is felt, and every emotional nuance is understood. Timing ensures that the word lands in the moment of highest anticipation, maximizing its effect. And sincerity ensures that it resonates authentically, leaving no doubt about its meaning. The result is not just a kiss, but an experience charged with emotional depth, anticipation, and mutual desire. This word is the first key in a sequence that transforms simple physical attraction into meaningful emotional connection. It demonstrates that emotional awareness and psychological understanding are far more powerful than any strategy or performance. It creates a foundation of trust, recognition, and desire that allows intimacy to flow naturally. When spoken with intention, it becomes a silent promise, a promise that the moment is significant, that connection is mutual, and that vulnerability will be met with care. Ultimately, the power of this word lies in its ability to resonate deeply. It is a word that every man longs to hear before a kiss because it affirms his worth, awakens desire, and creates a sense of safety. It is a word that transforms anticipation into action, uncertainty into alignment, and hesitation into openness. When used with awareness, presence, and sincerity, it is the spark that ignites emotional intimacy, turning a simple moment into one that will be remembered and cherished long after the kiss has passed. There is another word, equally simple, yet profoundly powerful. It is a word that carries reassurance, acceptance, and emotional intimacy all at once. While the first word sparks desire, this second word strengthens connection. It tells a man that he is not only seen, but also understood on a deeper level. It affirms that his presence matters in the most meaningful way. In the delicate moments before a kiss, hearing this word creates a sense of alignment, where hearts and minds converge and emotional walls begin to soften. This word taps into one of the most fundamental human needs, the need for belonging. Every person desires to feel like they are in the right place at the right time with the right person. When spoken sincerely, this word communicates exactly that. It reassures him that he is not just wanted, but that he is valued in a way that resonates with his core sense of self. It is not about approval or validation from others. It is about creating a space where he feels fully appreciated and genuinely understood. The impact is immediate and profound. Men are often less verbal about their emotional needs, but that does not mean they are absent. In fact, these needs are deeply rooted in human psychology. Emotional recognition is one of the strongest drivers of connection. This second word speaks directly to that need. It says, I see you, I understand you, you matter to me. The simplicity of the phrase belies its emotional weight. When it lands in the right moment, it transforms anticipation into calm confidence. Hesitation disappears, nervousness fades, a natural openness takes its place. This word also communicates trust. Trust is the invisible foundation of every intimate moment. Without it, desire cannot fully bloom. Men, like everyone, are wired to respond to cues that signal safety. This word functions as a subtle yet powerful signal. It tells him that it is safe to lean in, that it is safe to be vulnerable, and that the emotional space is shared and respected. By fostering this sense of security, the word amplifies emotional receptivity, making every subsequent gesture more meaningful, every glance more charged, and every heartbeat more synchronized. Timing is crucial. Spoken too early, the word may lose its impact. Spoken too late, the moment may already have passed. But when it lands in the exact moment of anticipation, it creates a resonance that the mind and heart cannot ignore. It feels deliberate yet natural, effortless yet intentional. The word becomes a silent invitation, an unspoken promise that connection is mutual, that attention is genuine, and that desire is welcomed. This is why mastery of timing, tone, and presence is essential. It ensures the word fulfills its potential, activating both emotional and physiological responses. This word also deepens emotional alignment. When a man feels aligned with someone emotionally, the bond strengthens. The anticipation before a kiss transforms into a shared understanding, a moment of mutual recognition that goes beyond physical attraction. Emotional alignment is magnetic. It draws him closer, not through pressure, but through resonance. The word acts as a signal of emotional harmony, bridging the gap between two hearts and allowing them to meet in a shared space of trust, desire, and understanding. The psychological effect is subtle but powerful. Humans are wired to respond to emotional attunement. When someone demonstrates awareness of our emotions, it creates a sense of connection that is irresistible. This word does exactly that. It communicates emotional attunement without overt explanation. The mind registers it immediately, the heart embraces it instinctively, and the body follows naturally. It is a word that transforms an ordinary moment into an extraordinary one, creating depth where there might have been only surface-level attraction. It is also a word of affirmation, not affirmation in the shallow sense of praise, but in the deep sense of recognition. It affirms his feelings, his presence, and his significance. Affirmation in this way is transformative. It makes him feel grounded, acknowledged, and accepted in a way that encourages openness and vulnerability. Emotional readiness is no longer a question. It becomes a natural flowing state. Desire, trust, and connection rise together, creating the perfect environment for intimacy. Presence enhances the effect. The word is not just spoken, it is felt. Every pause, every breath, every nuance of tone adds layers of meaning. The emotional charge of the moment is heightened, creating a ripple effect that resonates far beyond the words themselves. It is not a performance, it is authenticity expressed at the perfect moment. This authenticity is magnetic, drawing him closer both emotionally and physically, preparing him fully for the kiss that is about to happen. When used intentionally, this second word completes a subtle but powerful cycle. The first word sparked desire. This word deepens connection. Together, they create a psychological and emotional environment where anticipation transforms into emotional readiness, where hesitation gives way to confidence, and where attraction evolves into meaningful intimacy. It is a reminder that words, when chosen carefully and spoken sincerely, are far more powerful than gestures alone. They set the stage for a moment that will be remembered long after it has passed. There is a third word, quiet in appearance but powerful in its effect, that awakens a man's sense of purpose, belonging, and emotional connection all at once. While the first word sparks desire and the second cultivates trust, this word reaches into the core of a man, his psyche, touching a part of him that craves acknowledgement, respect, and the feeling of being needed. It is a word that resonates not just with the mind, but with the heart, stirring emotions that prepare him to fully embrace intimacy. This word speaks directly to the need for significance. Every man carries within him a desire to feel that he matters, that his presence has impact, and that his efforts are recognized. When spoken at the right moment, it affirms that significance. It tells him without excess explanation that he is valued, that his actions and intentions are meaningful, and that he has a place in the emotional world of the person before him. The effect is almost instantaneous. His mind relaxes, his heart opens, and his body responds with natural alignment to the moment. Psychologically, humans are wired to respond to words that affirm their identity and importance. This third word functions as a subtle yet profound acknowledgement of that inner need. It does not seek to flatter, persuade, or manipulate. Instead, it recognizes and affirms a truth that already exists within him, that he is capable, valued, and worthy of closeness. By doing so, it taps directly into his emotional drive, creating a sense of unity and shared understanding that goes beyond mere physical attraction. The impact of this word is amplified by its timing. Spoken in the space just before a kiss, it acts as a bridge between anticipation and emotional openness. The moment before intimacy is delicate, filled with tension, expectation, and subtle nervousness. This word gently shifts that tension into readiness. It reassures him, grounding his thoughts and emotions. It creates a mental and emotional environment where vulnerability is no longer a risk but a shared experience. In this state, desire flows naturally, guided not by urgency but by mutual connection and understanding. One of the most powerful aspects of this word is that it communicates respect. Respect is a cornerstone of meaningful connection. It signals that he is seen not just as an object of attraction, but as a person with depth, feelings, and complexity. When a man perceives this respect, it triggers a profound psychological response. He feels safe, valued, and emotionally validated. This validation allows him to release tension, lower defenses, and respond to intimacy with authenticity and presence. The kiss that follows becomes more than a physical gesture. It becomes an expression of emotional resonance, trust, and shared understanding. Emotional attunement is another layer of this word's power. Humans are naturally drawn to those who recognize and respond to their emotional state. By speaking this word with awareness and sincerity, it signals that his feelings, thoughts, and presence are noticed and respected. It bridges emotional gaps, creating a shared space where connection can flourish. The anticipation before the kiss transforms into alignment, turning uncertainty into confidence and nervousness into excitement. The effect is subtle, yet profoundly impactful, creating a sense of harmony that words alone rarely achieve. This word also carries an element of invitation. It invites him to step fully into the moment, to embrace the connection, and to participate in shared vulnerability. The invitation is gentle yet powerful. It does not demand compliance, it fosters openness. It reminds him that intimacy is not just about physical closeness, but about emotional resonance, mutual understanding, and a sense of shared experience. In hearing this word, he feels encouraged, acknowledged, and prepared to fully engage in the intimate moment that is unfolding. Presence enhances the potency of this word. Every nuance, the tone, the pause, the subtle emphasis adds layers of meaning. Spoken with genuine intention, it becomes more than a word. It becomes an emotional signal, a bridge between two hearts. The psychological and physiological responses it triggers are profound. The mind relaxes, the heart opens, and the body aligns with the emotional energy of the moment. The moment before the kiss transforms from uncertainty and tension into anticipation, resonance, and readiness. This word, in combination with the previous two, completes a subtle emotional progression. Desire is sparked, trust is built, and significance is affirmed. Together, these words create a sequence that engages the mind, heart, and body simultaneously. They prepare him emotionally for the intimacy that follows, turning hesitation into confidence and tension into alignment. The kiss is no longer just a physical act. It becomes the culmination of emotional preparation, shared understanding, and mutual desire. Ultimately, this third word holds the power to awaken the deepest layers of connection. It resonates with a man's need for purpose, recognition, and respect. It transforms anticipation into presence, nervousness into excitement, and vulnerability into shared openness. When spoken sincerely and intentionally, it becomes a signal that the moment is meaningful. That connection is mutual, and that emotional readiness has been fully achieved. It is a word that every man longs to hear because it validates not just his desire, but his very presence and significance in the eyes of the one he cares about. There is a fourth word, subtle yet electrifying, that reaches directly into a man's desire for connection, excitement, and emotional intensity. While the first three words laid the foundation, igniting desire, building trust, and affirming significance, this word awakens a spark that elevates anticipation and intensifies emotional engagement. It creates a magnetic pull, a tension that is both thrilling and deeply reassuring, guiding him toward the moment of intimacy with focus and openness. This word speaks to the heart of human psychology, the need to feel alive, energized, and fully seen. Every person, regardless of gender, carries a desire to experience moments that feel extraordinary. When this word is spoken with authenticity, it taps into that primal yearning. It signals attention, admiration, and emotional presence all at once. It communicates that the connection is not ordinary. It is charged with meaning, significance, and intensity. In the space just before a kiss, this word amplifies the emotional current, creating a resonance that is impossible to ignore. The effect is both psychological and physiological. Words that convey admiration and focus trigger the brain to release subtle, pleasurable chemicals associated with excitement and anticipation. This fourth word does exactly that. It sparks a heightened state of alertness and emotional receptivity. It encourages the mind to focus, the heart to open, and the body to respond. It transforms a moment that could be ordinary into one that feels charged, alive, and unforgettable. Anticipation becomes electricity in the air, subtle yet undeniable, compelling him toward connection. This word also signals emotional validation in a unique way. While previous words affirm presence, trust, and significance, this one communicates awareness of his energy, his intention, and the effect he has. It is a recognition that he matters in the moment, not just generally, but in a specific, powerful, and immediate sense. Hearing this word makes him feel attuned to, valued, and fully acknowledged. Emotional validation of this kind is deeply motivating, igniting confidence, and creating a sense of readiness for intimate connection. Timing is everything. Spoken too early, its impact may fade. Spoken too late, the opportunity is lost. But delivered at the peak of anticipation, it resonates in a way that is visceral, tangible, and unforgettable. The mind recognizes it as sincere, the heart responds instinctively, the body aligns naturally. This is the magic of precision in language, the ability of a single word to transform nervousness into confidence, hesitation into readiness, and curiosity into active engagement. In this moment, attraction becomes more than desire. It becomes emotional resonance. The fourth word also cultivates a sense of uniqueness. Humans are naturally drawn to experiences that feel exceptional, that stand apart from the mundane. This word communicates that the moment is special, that the connection is singular, and that the emotions shared are meaningful. It heightens attention, deepens presence, and amplifies the intimacy that is about to unfold. In this heightened state, the kiss becomes not just an act, but a culmination of anticipation, admiration, and emotional alignment. Emotional attunement is heightened by this word. When someone recognizes the energy, intention, and subtle nuances of another person, it creates a magnetic pull that words alone rarely achieve. This word conveys that recognition effortlessly. It signals that he is understood, seen, and appreciated in the moment. The emotional and psychological impact is immediate. Trust deepens, desire strengthens, and connection intensifies. This is the power of alignment. When two people exist in the same emotional wavelength, every gesture, glance, and movement carries weight and meaning. This word also enhances the sense of mutual presence. By acknowledging him in a way that is sincere and focused, it invites him to be fully present as well. Attention becomes shared, emotional energy becomes synchronized, anticipation transforms into connection. It is a subtle yet powerful way of signaling that the moment is not just about action, but about shared experience. When presence is fully engaged, vulnerability becomes easier and intimacy becomes deeper. When combined with the first three words, this fourth word completes an emotional progression that is almost irresistible. Desire has been sparked, trust has been built, significance has been affirmed, and now intensity and presence are fully engaged. Together, they create a psychological environment where emotional and physical connection merge seamlessly. The moment before the kiss becomes electric, charged with anticipation, readiness, and shared understanding. This fourth word, when spoken sincerely and intentionally, is not just a word. It is an emotional signal, a trigger for connection, and a catalyst for intimacy. It reminds him that the moment is extraordinary, that he is seen, and that the connection between the two of you is meaningful. It transforms nervous energy into excitement, hesitation into engagement, and anticipation into readiness. It is the word every man secretly wants to hear because it validates his presence, his energy, and the power of the connection being shared. There is a fifth and final word, subtle yet profound, that completes the emotional journey and prepares a man fully for intimacy. While the previous four words sparked desire, built trust, affirmed significance, and heightened presence, this word reaches into the deepest layers of human connection. It is a word that signals acceptance, emotional safety, and a readiness to share vulnerability without fear. It transforms anticipation into a shared experience, creating a moment that is both powerful and unforgettable. This word speaks directly to a man's need for acceptance. Every person carries an inner desire to be fully seen, understood, and embraced exactly as they are. It is not about perfection, achievement, or performance. It is about authenticity. When spoken sincerely, this word communicates that he is accepted without judgment, that his thoughts, feelings, and presence are valued, and that he is safe to be himself. Psychologically, this triggers a profound sense of relief, relaxation, and emotional openness. The barriers that often hold people back in intimate moments dissolve, and he feels free to engage fully and genuinely. The power of this word lies in its ability to validate his emotional experience. Throughout life, men often navigate expectations, responsibilities, and societal pressures that make vulnerability feel risky. This word reassures him that those pressures can be set aside, even if only for a moment. It communicates that the emotional space is safe, and that sharing it is not only allowed but welcome. This validation is deeply motivating. It encourages him to lower defenses, embrace presence, and align his emotional energy with the shared moment. Timing enhances the potency of this word. Spoken at the precise moment when anticipation has built through the first 4 words, it acts as a release valve for tension and uncertainty. Desire becomes clarity, nervousness becomes calm focus, and curiosity transforms into deep engagement. The psychological effect is profound. The mind relaxes, the heart opens, and the body aligns naturally with the energy of connection. This is why the 5th word is often the one a man most longs to hear, because it completes the emotional progression in a way that feels deeply satisfying and resonant. This word also communicates trust. Trust is the invisible thread that connects two people on a deeper level. It signals that emotional safety exists, that boundaries are honored, and that the shared moment is respected. Hearing this word reassures him that he is not alone in navigating vulnerability. He is acknowledged, supported, and understood. Psychologically, trust lowers tension, increases emotional receptivity, and prepares the mind and body to engage fully. In this way, the word acts as a bridge connecting emotional anticipation to genuine intimacy. Emotional attunement amplifies the effect of this word. By speaking it with sincerity and awareness, it signals that his inner state is recognized and honored. Humans are wired to respond positively to attunement. It creates a sense of harmony, alignment, and mutual understanding. In the moments before a kiss, this word heightens connection, making the experience feel shared rather than one-sided. It transforms the encounter from a simple physical gesture into an exchange of emotional energy, trust, and presence. The 5th word also carries a subtle element of affirmation. It tells him, without embellishment, that he is enough as he is. It acknowledges his efforts, his intentions, and his very presence. This affirmation resonates deeply, creating an emotional state that is receptive, confident, and aligned with connection. Desire is no longer just a fleeting thought. It becomes a shared intention, a mutual readiness, and an emotional alignment that makes the kiss feel inevitable, natural, and profoundly meaningful. This word completes the emotional architecture built by the previous 4. Desire has been sparked, trust has been nurtured, significance has been affirmed, presence has been heightened, and now acceptance is granted. Together, these 5 words form a psychological and emotional framework that prepares a man fully for intimacy. Each word contributes uniquely, but the 5th word serves as the emotional apex, transforming readiness into connection, anticipation into engagement, and curiosity into shared presence. The subtlety of this word is part of its power. It does not need to be elaborate or dramatic. Its impact lies in sincerity, timing, and emotional resonance. Spoken with awareness, it communicates volumes without overwhelming the moment. It taps into the deep human craving for understanding, validation, and emotional alignment. In doing so, it turns a simple gesture into a profound shared experience, making the moment before the kiss not just memorable, but transformative. Ultimately, the 5th word is the culmination of emotional intelligence, presence, and psychological insight. It touches the deepest layers of human desire, the need to be seen, accepted, and emotionally connected. When combined with the first 4 words, it creates a complete sequence that engages mind, heart, and body simultaneously. The moment of intimacy that follows is no longer simply physical. It becomes the manifestation of shared understanding, mutual respect, and profound connection. This is why, when spoken with intention and sincerity, this word resonates so deeply. It fulfills a fundamental human need, completing the emotional journey that every man experiences before he fully embraces a kiss. Now that all 5 words have been revealed, it is time to understand the power they hold together as a single sequence that can transform anticipation into connection, nervousness into confidence, and curiosity into deep emotional resonance. These words are not just sounds, they are psychological triggers, keys to the human heart, and gateways to intimacy that is both meaningful and profound. Each word builds on the previous, creating a staircase of emotion, trust, and desire that leads naturally to the moment of a kiss that is unforgettable, intentional, and alive. The first word sparks attention. It captures desire, draws focus, and ignites curiosity. Without it, the connection risks being ordinary, unnoticed, or fleeting. It awakens a sense of possibility, the subtle whisper of excitement that tells the mind, the heart, and the body that something extraordinary is about to unfold. It reminds us that attraction is not random. It is a force that can be acknowledged, nurtured, and amplified. The second word strengthens trust. It reassures, supports, and establishes a foundation for emotional security. Trust is the invisible thread that allows vulnerability to exist without fear. It signals that presence is safe, intentions are respected, and the connection is real. Human psychology shows that trust reduces internal resistance, lowers stress, and opens the mind to fully experience shared moments. Without trust, desire alone is fragile. With it, desire becomes anchored in certainty, creating a powerful readiness for connection. The third word affirms significance. It tells a man that he matters, that his presence has weight, and that his emotions and intentions are acknowledged. Every person longs to feel significant, to know that their actions and presence are noticed and appreciated. This word is a subtle, profound signal that he is valued, not in a superficial sense, but in a way that touches his core need for recognition and validation. Psychological studies show that feeling significant boosts confidence, emotional alignment, and the willingness to engage fully in intimate moments. The fourth word heightens presence and intensity. It creates electricity in the air, sharpens focus, and amplifies emotional engagement. Desire becomes more than longing. It transforms into active attention, a magnetic pull that aligns mind, heart, and body with the shared energy of the moment. This word communicates awareness, admiration, and subtle excitement. It reminds him that the connection is alive, that the moment is charged, and that anticipation is part of the beauty of intimacy. It is a word that awakens the senses, creating a tension that is thrilling, magnetic, and irresistible. The fifth word completes the sequence with acceptance and readiness. It communicates emotional safety, validation, and trust in the deepest sense. Vulnerability becomes welcomed rather than feared. Hesitation turns into openness, and the heart feels fully acknowledged. This word is the culmination of emotional intelligence, the recognition that intimacy is not just physical, but deeply psychological. It signals that the connection is authentic, that he is accepted as he is, and that the shared moment is safe, meaningful, and profound. When these 5 words are spoken with sincerity, timing, and awareness, they create a powerful psychological pathway. Desire is ignited, trust is solidified, significance is affirmed, presence is intensified, and acceptance is granted. Together, they transform the ordinary act of a kiss into a deeply meaningful, emotionally resonant experience. The moment becomes more than physical. It becomes a shared exchange of energy, attention, and connection. Every glance, every pause, and every breath feels amplified, charged with the emotional current created by these words. Understanding these words is also a lesson in human psychology. People respond to attention, validation, presence, and acceptance. Each word taps into fundamental needs, creating a sequence that moves him from curiosity to anticipation, from hesitation to readiness. These are the words that speak to the core of human desire, the ones that awaken emotional, mental, and physical engagement simultaneously. They show that language is more than communication. It is a bridge to connection, a tool for influence, and a pathway to intimacy. The beauty of these words is not in their complexity, but in their timing, authenticity, and emotional resonance. They are simple, yet powerful. Spoken with awareness, they align mind, heart, and body, creating a moment that feels alive, significant, and unforgettable. The emotional journey they create is subtle yet profound, building naturally from curiosity to desire, from trust to presence, and from anticipation to acceptance. By embracing the power of these 5 words, a man experiences a connection that is intentional, meaningful, and deeply satisfying. The kiss that follows is not merely an act, it is the culmination of emotional alignment, psychological readiness, and shared vulnerability. It is a moment that lingers in memory because it touches not just the senses, but the mind and the heart. These 5 words remind us of a fundamental truth. Human connection is built through understanding, presence, and authenticity. When spoken sincerely, they transform a fleeting moment into a shared experience that resonates deeply, creates trust, and amplifies desire. They are not just words. They are keys to the heart, triggers for emotional resonance, and catalysts for moments that are unforgettable, alive, and profound.